It's a labor tool that's going to help you guys do your job throughout the day, and to also do some scheduling too, which is going to be obviously a challenge currently as we go through, Omicron, as well as some other scheduling challenges that we've had. So it looks a little overwhelming, but trust me, it's not. It's very user friendly. Can you all see this first before I get started?
Yeah.
Okay, fantastic. So this is going to be, we're calling this the staffing guidance matrix, okay? Now there's two schools of thought that you can use this document for. You can use this document for forecasting. You can use this document for a daily check-in to see where you are as far as labor goes, and as far as how you're doing as far as labor goes. And then you can also, at the end of the period, see where you are as far as how many dollars you have spent, how many hours you've spent, et cetera, throughout the entire time. So let me first say that if you ever get lost in this document, or if you're unsure of any numbers and how to input numbers, just click the logo up at the top. And what this will do is it will take you to an instruction sheet that basically gives you an idea of what we're looking for, okay? So the forecasting scheduling portion of it, this is the first thing you're going to do once you get this document, is you're going to enter forecast through the data spreadsheet, okay? And how you navigate is you go back and forth by clicking the Earth Bar logo. It's very simple, okay? Everything is hyperlinked into each other, so you shouldn't have any issues navigating this document whatsoever. You can't click anywhere and go anywhere. You can't mess up the formulas and things like that. Everything is locked so that all you have to do is enter in the cells that are open. Okay, and this is to help you guys go in the future. So the first and foremost thing that I want to show you guys is forecasting. So forecasting, obviously, as we know for our business, is critical, right? We want to make sure that we're as accurate as we can be, because what does forecasting do? It obviously predicts what we can actually do as far as revenue, and it also predicts how many hours we need to spend to make sure that we're meeting those goals of revenue, okay? So first and foremost, let's just plug in some numbers here so you guys see how this works. So the forecasted revenues numbers. So at the beginning of the period, as you guys know, you go into See2It, you input all of the forecasted numbers for the period, right? You go into week 1, week 2, and then week 3 and week 4. So I'm going to ask that once you receive this document, you are going to continue doing that, but you input your forecasted numbers that you do in See2It, as well as into this document, because this is going to help you guys manage your labor moving forward. So let's just hypothetically say you have a $2,000 projection here and you have a $2,500 projection here, okay? First, you're going to look down here and you're going to go, okay, my forecasted revenues for the period are $4,500. Now, again, I've only got 2 days filled in here, so, but you'll see how this works as we go along and we review this, okay? So that's the first thing you want to do, is you want to input your forecasts. Now, how do you go to each individual day? Well, right here, you click on the actual day, okay? Monday. And it's going to take you to the actual sheet that you want to go ahead and start inputting numbers on. But the first thing you want to do is you want to see, okay, the $2,000 that I input here, wow, see that? This little bar shows up here. And it gives you an idea of how many people you're going to go ahead and basically schedule for, okay? As you can see, when you have $2,000, your basic schedule is right on the cusp of about 4 people, 3 to 4 people, right? That's what you would schedule for, okay? Everybody following me so far?
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
All right. So having said that, let's just say hypothetically, throughout the day, let's say you're at $1,300 and you are at $1,300 at about 2 o'clock in the afternoon. Here's where another indicator pops up, okay? It's 2 o'clock in the afternoon, you're doing $1,300. You should have 2 people on the floor. No more, no less, 2 people, okay? So this is gonna give you an idea of how many people you should have at a specific time during the day at a specific number as far as revenue goes. Okay, so let's just rethink this again and actually enter a different number. So let's say instead of 13, let's say you get 1,900 at 2 o'clock. You see how this is shifted now, okay? And it's closer to where your goal is, but now it's saying that you need 3 people on at that time of the day at 2 o'clock. Okay, you still got about 3 hours or so left in the day. Now, conversely, you can change the time of day. Let's say it's, I don't know, let's say it's 11 in the morning. Okay, and you've done $1,900. Okay, again, same sort of scenario. You can see how it's creeping up towards the 4-person mark. It's very close, as a matter of fact. So let's say you have a 4th person that's scheduled at 1 o'clock. You may want to consider bringing them in at 12 instead, where you can make a phone call and say, okay, I need to get that other person in there, okay, a little bit earlier than usual. Pardon the blenders going off in the background. I'm at Brentwood right now. But that gives you a way of tracking and seeing what's going on, okay? Now, if you don't have access to a computer throughout the day, as many of you don't, because you're going to be on the floor, right? As most of us are on the floor, most of your general managers, shift leads, you're on the floor. You don't have time to go and log into a computer and do this little task, right? So what you can do is you can manually see where you are. So you'll be able to print these up on a daily basis and see, okay, it's 12 o'clock right now. I've done $1,500. I should be doing about 2 or 3. I should have about 2 or 3 individuals on the floor right now. So you can manually look instead of plugging in the bell and whistle that you need to just to see where you are as far as the indicator goes. Okay. So does everybody understand those 2 components to it, the forecasting piece as well as the indicator piece?
Yes.
Yep.
Okay. Now, here's the next piece of this, okay, which is team member hours. So at the end of the day, we're asking that you guys go in here and enter where you finished off as far as hours go. So let's say you had a general manager working, you had a shift lead working, and let's say you had a barista working, and your general manager, let's say, started at 6:45 in the morning. They left at 2:30. Okay. You see how these drop-down menus work? It's pretty simple, right? 8 o'clock. Let's say it's, I don't know, that person left it, let's say, a full day, so 4.5 hours or 8.5 hours. And then the barista, let's say the barista was the one person that came in and they actually did the closing shift or the closing portion of the shift. Okay. And let's say it's 5:30. Okay. Now, as you can see, there's 3 team members, 1, 2, 3. Total hours, 1, 2, 3, added up, gives you a total hours. Your total dollar amount, as you can see, is not necessarily shown here because we don't want to divulge how much somebody makes. This is an average for each position, just so you guys know. Okay, it's not the be all end all. It's not the gospel. It's not the Bible. This is a guideline to show you exactly how much money or close to how much money you're spending per day. At the end of the day, so once you've got those numbers in there, at the end of the day, you're going to input your total revenue. So let's say for this day that you were forecasting 2,000, let's say you actually did 2,400. Okay. Then what you do is you click back here. You see this little graph here. Click back here, and it's going to take you back to this sheet here. You see those numbers that we just put in on that other sheet are now here. Okay. So you've got actual revenues, you've got actual hours, but actual labor dollars, you've got an actual labor percentage of what you did for that day, which 18% is phenomenal, right? We all know that. As a matter of fact, it's probably understaffed. Okay, but you were forecasting 2,000, you actually did 2,400. So that makes sense. At the very bottom, you see where that actually plays out, right? Your forecasted versus your actual. So here's your actual revenue for that day. If we actually just don't put this forecasted number in there for a second, you can see exactly where you did. So the green number indicates a positive based on your forecast, right? So let's just hypothetically say you had 28 days in here on your forecasted revenues and your actual revenues exceed that total, you're going to see this as green. Okay. Your forecasted hours, which you're going to put in here as well. So let's just say it was 25 as a forecasted hour. You actually only spent 21.75, right? As we indicated on the other sheet. And you can see there's the savings again in green. So the goal, guys, is to always have these 2 indicators be green. If you have the labor in particular, the red in this as in red from your forecasted to your actual, and it's turning red, that means you spent too much money as far as labor goes versus the expectation of what you were anticipating. Everybody follow so far?
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. Tried to make this as easy as possible to use. Okay. So again, if you have any issues, you're not sure what to do, go to the Earth Bar logo, click, and it'll take you back to the instruction sheet. So let's just quickly go over the instructions. So the first thing is you're going to enter your forecast in the data spreadsheet, which we did, right? We entered the forecast. The second thing you're going to do is you're going to click through the day and find the green revenue indicator line on the matrix, right? So we did that, right? We clicked and we saw the green indicator line for forecast, right? Okay. Then what did we do? Well, then we see how many team members the matrix is recommending for you for that day. So when you do the schedule every single week, follow this matrix. It shouldn't give you any indicator of more or less than really what you want. Now the ratio, as we all know, is usually around 500 to 1, right? $500 in revenue to 1 team member. So that's really what the focus of this does. It really does bring that to light so you can see exactly what you're forecasting. You can see how many team members you need to have. Okay. Then at the beginning of each day, you're going to print out the hard copy. All you have to do here, guys, it's already formatted for you. So the only thing you need to do is at the beginning is go up here. Once you've got your forecast in for the entire period, you can go in and print out all 28 days, put them on a clipboard, and you've got your forecasted number already on that day that you're going to use every single day. Okay, in a hard copy version of it. So all you're going to do is you're going to go up here and you're going to hit File and Print. And once you hit Print, it's going to format everything for you in this format, in this form. You're going to see all of this on one page. And this will all be week 1, day 1. And then when you click to the next day, it's going to show week 2 or week 1, day 2, etc., all the way through for 7 days for each week. Okay, everybody clear on that?
Yes.
Okay. So once you've gotten all of that information on your hard copy page, then all you need to do is, like I showed you, is transpose those numbers and then send it to us at the end of the day. Okay. You're basically posting the hard copy near your communications board. As we talked about, you're filling out the hard copy throughout the entire day. Okay, as it shows right here, every hour, you're checking in with the matrix. You're evaluating where your store is performing. Okay, if we're having a slow day, what's the first thing you guys normally do? You flex your schedule, right? So you need to do that. Every single hour, we should be doing that as good managers, okay, or as good shift leads. We should always be looking to see exactly how we're going to run the most efficient way. Okay, Clay always talks about leaving dollars on the table. Well, this is a really good indicator of how not to leave dollars on the table. Okay, as long as we follow this, there's no reason why we can't run an efficient store in every single store. Okay, you're going to access the matrix on the computer. You're going to enter those numbers. Okay, and at the end of the day, here are the instructions for you as well, which I've already shown you guys how to do. Okay, the key point here at the end of the day is to save the sheet as a PDF on your desktop of whatever computer you're using, whether you're using a laptop or whether you're using a desktop. You save it to the desktop and then you send it with your end of day reports to Bob, Clay, myself, whoever, Garrett. Okay, I will say that I'm going to give this to you at the end of this meeting today. I want you guys to play with it. Okay, I want you guys to go into it and understand how it works. Everything that I've shown you should be very self-explanatory, but I want you guys to go in and play with it. See if it actually is as intuitive to use as we claim it to be, as I claim it to be. Okay, and if you have any things that you're wanting to improve upon, you might come up with another idea of how to improve upon this, and that's fine. This is good. Sharing ideas is wonderful so that we can make it all improved in how we're going to use it as a team moving forward. We're going to roll this out on Monday of next week. All of the teams, myself, you guys, Henry and his team, Darian and his team. we're all going to be rolling this out on Monday. So I want your guys' feedback by the end of the weekend. Okay, let's just say by the end of Saturday, so that I can go ahead and make this the norm for Monday morning. Any questions before I move on? Comments, snide remarks, bring them all, bring them all.
No snide remarks, but comments. I saw this already, but you've improved it already with the percentages like we were talking about. So I think this is a really important tool for the shift leads. I think for the most part, the GMs, you know, at least in your region, Sean, like we all have a pretty good understanding of labor scheduling. So this will be a really good guide. Like you said, it's not the end all be all, but it's a really good guide. But I think it's a really incredible teaching and training tool for the shift leads who can really impact our labor when we're off on a certain day, or if we're the opener and there's the shift lead closing, or vice versa, they're the opener and we're the closer. They can kind of see where we're trending with sales and make any adjustments to make sure that we save where we can. So I like this.
Thank you. Yes, Garrett. I mean, the goal was to obviously make it easier for you guys, right? And make it so that you guys can really be accountable for your own store and to see where your labor is. I mean, the good thing about this particular sheet at the very bottom is you can see where you are. I know at the end of the period, you guys are always looking at me, how did I do in my P&L? Right? Well, this is going to give you a real good indicator of where you stand, at least as far as your labor goes, at least as far as your forecasted revenues go. I mean, you can certainly look and see to it, but as we all know, see to it can be really good and it can be really cumbersome and sometimes, right? And tough to get into sometimes to really understand with all the reports that are in there. This simplifies at least the labor portion of it. So you guys can see exactly where you stand when it comes to the end of the period. Okay. Any other questions or snide remarks? Okay, fantastic. I'm going to go ahead and stop sharing this one. I'm going to send this to you very shortly.